It's 420. Happy
Yes,
420,
happy
everybody.
420,
This
everybody.
episode will probably come out a little after that. We're all celebrating. Let's start right into it. The first thing, we're going in chronological order since the last time we recorded. Easter.
Happened.
He is risen. Anybody
Yes.
big? Anybody big updates? Anything interesting? The only topic I had there with is instead of painting
Not
eggs, because eggs are too expensive now, there's no point of wasting them. People are now painting potatoes.
I did hear about the potato.
Where did you hear that?
I heard that too.
This is news. This is on network news, Greg. This is where it's been a long 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I saw the potato story.
That's happening. All I had to say, how
I did not see
Irish
that.
is that with painting the potatoes? Okay. Taxes shrunk. A survey came out and it asked if you were to name your kid taxes. As a result of that, you never had to pay taxes again.
Your kid taxes?
You're gonna have to name your kid taxes, but you never have to pay taxes again.
Oh, you have to name your
Taxes
kid
shrum. You have to have
Yeah.
a little taxes shrum.
Yeah. I think
You don't have to pay taxes.
I think Craig and I would both be on board with
I
that.
think,
I would probably be on board with
what
that.
percentage? What percentage of the
Pay a
population?
lot. I pay a lot in taxes.
14% of people.
Yeah. Craig, is your mic on? I feel like
Is it on?
Yeah. You hear it? Okay.
And I know you guys were going.
Where'd that question come from, Greg? Taxes.
You guys were going on about taxes
Oh.
in the group chat.
Yeah, I think we did.
I just figured I'd throw that in and say, yeah, I figured both of you would name
Well,
their kid taxes.
we
I do the middle name taxes.
Yeah.
I think like Tony Taxes Troutman's
Well,
a pretty badass
his
name.
kid's name's Cash, so I think that's
Cash and taxes. Cash, the only thing you can count on.
Cash and
taxes.
taxes.
Yeah.
Oh, if I were a daughter, I'd name her Taxes.
That would be a good name. That would be a good name.
The only thing I'll say, but like if we want to have some actual tax conversation, because I saw a legitimate news story about this. I mean, it's something being debated in the House right now. Is having like a ridiculous sales tax to like cover everything else. Craig was all about it. So
I think sales tax would be great because if you decide you're not going to spend, because the sales tax would be like they would set it based on how much Americans are spending, right?
yeah, but Americans spend a lot. I mean, we're talking about like a 40% sales tax. There would be no income tax. There'd be no property
But if you're
tax.
not going to spend, like if you're just going to try to grind and just spend as little as possible for a while, you're able to accumulate some more in your savings. So I think it's a pro for like people to have like a tool to like grow.
I'm not. I think offsetting some taxes with the sales tax is a good idea. We've been talking about doing that. It seems like for eons, but I don't know how you get rid of it.
I don't think there should be like.
for that.
Why is there a
So,
property tax? Like once you own the land, you should be able to just have that land.
Well, a lot of people
You
are
should-
upset about that. They're
But
like,
if you
"Oh,
have
we
the
have to
sales
pay
tax-
rent to the government to own this land," and that's
It's kind of bullshit.
and that's okay. So the property tax is like on like again on a more serious note. I mean, that is the most debated tax I think out there.
Death tax.
Yes, that's another one that gets brought
I
up.
see people will agree, but
but-
nobody likes that.
Well, rich people hate it, and rich people are in power.
And people that
so it's
aspire,
like-
people that aspire to be wealthy
Yeah.
don't want to know that they're going to work a bunch.
I'm kind of indifferent. I'm sure there's some reform that could go on with that and make it more fair. I mean, like, I'm generally arguing for reform across the board on most things here, but that would be definitely one of them to say, okay, we have to make it a little bit more fair to keep it within the family. That has some pros. Like, that has some.
Oh yeah, the other placement income tax.
wealth
We
going,
just had to
so.
get our taxes in a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I think it was the
It
18th.
was tax day, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that was already on the.
And I did
That's
taxes
ignorant.
for people for that free tax program, and that was an experience.
I'm sure that you had an
was
interesting tax
experience.
filing this time around.
We could do a whole episode on the people that I filed taxes for at the New Kensington Library.
With the
so.
new 80,000 IRS agents, we just might want to lay low on this topic. Everyone
probably
here,
should, yeah.
everyone here is paying their taxes. We're all good Americans.
I filed an extension. I wasn't prepared.
a lot of people that owe do that. I don't know if you owe or not, but
I just haven't gathered all my stuff.
yeah, it's a lot for a small business to have to do. Like thank God for my dad. Like he handles a lot of that stuff for me, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do the diner. Just that simple.
True.
Because any extra costs that have to occur on it would just completely we blow any kind of whatever we're making right now. So. Yeah, no, and that's a big thing. And I pay a lot in taxes. Like, my sales tax hit for the month the other day, and it just gets you.
Well,
But everything does. Like the credit card bill does, and it's like, oh, here's a charge for being able to process a credit card. It's like, fuck, that's just money walking out the door that you just have no control over whatsoever.
But you need those in order to stay open. And
You
it's
do.
in the best interest of the locality and the state
No, you gotta do
for
it.
you to be open.
Yeah.
So whatever sacrifices they can make, in
It's
conjunction
all
with any
part
sacrifices
of
you
it.
can make.
Yeah. But I would actually argue more for the income tax should go away more than the property tax should, because by and large, property tax is like somewhat affordable. I hate to say that, but it's like, okay, it's $100 a month basically.
But just when you
That you
own the
gotta slap
land, though,
around.
you shouldn't owe like.
Yeah,
somebody's
no, I
rent,
know. I'm
you know?
just, when you break it down to $100 a month, we're talking about like what, a couple bucks a day is your property tax. You know,
It's still like you
okay.
should be able to live off the grid.
The
not need to make
schools
money.
shouldn't rely on property tax as much as they do. I like that argument that I hear all the time, because basically property tax directly funds the local school district. If there's an easy reform right there. Give them more direct funding, and then you won't have such an argument over property tax.
Public schools are dead. Public schools are done.
I think we should go
Chat
the direct,
GPT.
This is honestly how I feel. We should go the direction of like, if somebody's like an educator in your community and you think they're good at their job, like that
Expensive
person should take
babysitters.
on like, you know,
Expensive
6 kids
babysitter. But back in the day, before you had public
in
school,
their house and pay them directly.
before you had public school, wealthier families would pay just tutors to teach all subjects.
Yeah.
And you could form groups of like 5 or 6 people that all go to.
Yeah, you go in on a teacher.
Basically you treat a teacher like LeBron James.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to pay a bunch of money for you just to focus on making my kid, watching him while I'm working, teaching him right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I think the future of teaching's going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see with public school and ChatGPT, the teachers cannot outperform the computers.
I'm a public school proponent. I just don't think there's
Everyone
anything
is.
that you
Everyone
can
is.
really-
Right now, Craig doesn't think this is happening, and you don't want it to happen. I'm
Right.
saying this is inevitable until the teachers
The
can do a
AI.
better job with teaching than a ChatGPT could personalize education. And you don't have to worry about assault. You can program the ChatGPT, don't talk to sex. Computer, don't talk sex with my kid. You can't do this with the public
What are
schools
the
anymore.
statistics? What are the statistics when the kids were learning from home? Were they learning or?
Oh no,
No,
none of
they
them.
were
They can't
dismal.
read. No,
They were dismal.
Nobody can do math.
Dismal.
Math is dead.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah. But see, I think that's a good point, because like, okay, ChatGPT could do it if the kids actually cared enough to like engage with it. And
That's
not
where
to
like,
have
I'm
that.
not
can
worried about
personalize in a
ChatGPT.
Or
way-
they could just play video games all day and
Well,
not learn
no,
a single thing. Like,
you
I don't
were
know.
really dumb if when lockdown started and you had teachers wearing masks trying to teach kids to read. How the hell do you sound something out if you can't watch someone's mouth?
No,
this was and this did not take 3 years
Yeah.
of a multi-million-dollar study
Yeah.
to go, yeah, a masked teacher is useless. Like, that's dumb. The student needs to be able to read the lips of the teacher.
Yeah.
That's common education. And now all of a sudden this year was, well,
Were they really teaching with their masks on?
Oh God, the kids had to wear masks too. That went deep. That went about 2 full years of teachers and kids wearing masks.
Yeah, it became controversial.
Like that was late, like just at the end of last, I want to say right before the midterms. They knocked it off before 2022 midterms. That was when they realized, like, it's like, okay, suburban parents are getting pissed off. The kids aren't getting educated. Right now, they're just.
I think it hurt younger kids too more than older kids. Because
yeah,
if you are an older
yeah.
kid and you actually cared, you were able to use technology to actually learn if you wanted to. But I make that same argument in regular society. Like, I think Craig would actually say this: you really want to learn something? There's resources out there.
How do you think?
You know,
How do you think
if
we
you don't have
acted?
access to the internet, you could actually go to a library and actually get all that same information if you really needed to. I mean, like, it is available.
It's 2009. Me and you are just about to graduate. Craig's a year behind. We go into this COVID lockdown formation. How do you think we handle it? Remember, we're sneaking out of our house at that time, TPing high schools. If we were in the middle of, like, all of a sudden, no holds bar, BLM protest, let's just go to Pittsburgh and rob a grocery store, what would we have done?
But it's crazy.
I'd like to think we'd been better than that, but I feel like I would have been real pissed. I'm just about to jump into my life. They moved the smoking age from 18 to 21.
Oh, we would have.
I'm rioting.
We would have rioted.
I'm rioting. Like, I get that mentality
We
at
would
that
have
age.
rioted.
They were put in such a terrible position.
Yeah.
That's why the whole situation
But
was
see,
so
here's-
unfortunate.
here's the
I'm not
scary-
saying they should do it. I'm saying I understand it.
Here's the scary
I get
part.
why it happened.
And I think COVID
You
accelerated.
should have seen it coming.
COVID accelerated a lot of things, and like societal progression was one of them. Because I would argue like 2009 was a completely different era than what we
Yes.
live in now.
It's-
and that's funny because like the 80s, like
We had
compare that
envies.
to the 80s.
We didn't
you
get
know what I
iPhones
mean?
till our freshman year of college. Which
Yeah.
Everyone had an iPhone.
So-
we were still the NV1, NV2 generations.
I mean, we were the last one to like. I always relate things back to newspapers, but I mean, like newspapers were mainstream. newspapers hit the most revenue they ever made in 2005. So while we were still in high school, you have newspapers booming, actually making more money than they ever had in the middle of history.
What happened?
And that all crashed in like 5 years. And it was like the most ridiculous thing to live through. But we were that last generation
Twitter,
that actually like
social
had
media.
It. Yeah, like
the prime
all of that
way
was in its infancy.
Instead of
and all the old stuff was being phased out.
Instead of above the fold, it turned into what's trending on your social media sites. And newspapers all switched to, okay, you still want your good headline, but the goal is to get the traction on the social media. That's how you funnel in.
Did they try to adapt?
That this was basically paper died. But now,
they did it in the argument of efficiency.
Here's the beauty of public schools and handwriting paper is if you're a teacher in college and you want to test your students' ability to write essay questions, no more homework. That's in class. Pass out those old, what are those, like pale yellow composition books?
Oh, yeah.
And you write in person. I know that ChatGPT isn't taking the test in person. I can have my students come in. I can give them the same questions, give them an hour and a half, and write out the answers. And I know you're not cheating that.
Yeah.
I know you're actually forming writing ability. Now, the argument you can make, Craig, is, well, if the ChatGPT writes better than them, why are you concerned about their ability to write? Why shouldn't they just be using the ChatGPT to write better than they otherwise?
It was the same argument the calculator had with math. It'd be like,
and it won.
If I had,
and the calculator won. The calculator
of.
won, and I think ChatGPT with writing, with the journalists and the teachers and big academia paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to go to 4 years.
It kind of evens the playing field in that aspect. It's kind of what all the
you could make an argument that
socialists want, right?
Well, no, I think it's supposed to be a tool. Like, I think we're all like,
right,
we can't lose that. And when I was playing around with it, which I actually have, I don't know the last time we recorded, but I sat down and had a little session.
You both did. No, you both were texting in the group. You guys both finally decided to pick it up.
And I would say because of Greg,
just like fire,
he made us so skeptical of it. I didn't do it up to that point.
Play with it a little bit.
Yeah,
interface with the thing.
The reason I did is because
I'm through third-party people. I still won't touch it myself.
This social media guy that I follow that's a contractor did a podcast about it.
From Joe Rogan.
He explained how he uses it for his estimates.
Yeah.
So I wanted to experiment.
Right.
Is this going to make my life easier?
Right.
Over the course of the past 2 weeks, it's infiltrated every single news sector.
Yeah.
Whatever you're following on social media, everything is figured out. Like, it's just a toy. And that's the big one. The big news announcement I had this week is the music. Did you guys hear the new song by Drake?
No,
I didn't hear it, but I heard of.
I have the recording. If you want to listen, if you just take my word for it, you would believe it was a real song.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to hear it.
I mean, I haven't. I can fire it up.
But my last comment on the Chat GPT thing is, though, I still think it's just like a better Google. Is really what it is at the end of the day.
That's how it's
because I don't have to sort through information. It just
gives
it to me straight.
It's not even up to date. It's only like to 2014
and for its value for me.
What year was? No, not 14. It's 2020 maybe.
For what?
I think it's in the up to date to 2020. I think.
Oh, ChatGPT.
Yeah, I think it said that on the in the fine print underneath.
I'd find that hard to believe, but okay. It had current event stuff on there. I mean, you could ask it.
No, I asked it. I only realized it because I asked it current event stuff, and it said it told me like.
Okay.
It's
information. We'll have to play with it around more, but I mean, like, you could just ask it like, "Who's Horace Greeley?" and it would just pop out a nice,
That's why I was
able to like look up on Google.
Yeah, so if I actually was doing a school project and I'd be like, "Who's Horace Greeley again?" I can like type it in ChatGPT. You get the answer. You don't have to go scroll through like 15 documents in a Wikipedia page and check the source to actually make sure it's true. And like, okay, fine, but
right now
it cuts through all that.
Right now, one of the big things that's holding it back, and I think one of them's figured out a way around it, is to stay current events with the modern internet. It's very easy before, whenever it was birthed, to be able to do all internet history before that, but to be able to keep up each day and keep combing through the internet, communicating with other AIs, they haven't perfected that process. That's where, to me, it hasn't been able to streamline a lot of things that I do. It's because it's all based off current events. So if the ChatGPT isn't figuring in the modern news stories with Ukraine, it's useless to me.
Greg, what you're doing right now can't be replaced.
True. Right. At the moment. At the moment.
That could be argued.
I know. I do believe at the moment my position is safe. I don't think it will be forever, though. I think journalists will be up next. And my question is okay, I'm not a journalist. If I'm more of a comedic journalist,
Just playing one on podcast.
satirical
TV.
journalist, yeah. If it's more that route, the question is what that falls in along with a song artist. What happens when the Chat GPT writes better songs than the artist are?
Is that what we're going to listen to right now?
That's Here we go. This is are we ready to play the phone?
So that was AI
It
generated?
got deleted immediately.
That sounds like shit.
It rhymes.
It sounds like shit.
Could you tell that
The
wasn't?
quality sucks.
We've been doing auto tuning for the better part of a decade.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just now, we could auto-tune instruments, now we can auto-tune individual voices. So you could do this with every artist. And you could say, okay, Tupac, write a song in the voice of Tupac about an AI apocalypse. And it will do so with a stunning degree of accuracy. If you're an artist now,
Can they still perform in front of an audience?
Well, right now, when you look at a lot of these music festivals, it's more DJs. This live
there's still concerts of your the bands.
There are, but the COVID lockdown discontinued them for a while. Right now, the prices of all the tickets went up.
I think the point is
back.
there's enough DJs and there's enough people out there that could replace the live entertainment with something like this that it affects them.
Yeah, but how many people who otherwise never had access to making
them,
music or producing music?
Yes, like that's what I'm saying. It opens up a big field.
How many artists would get in their heads if you had a hit song come out that you didn't write, and then you had to pull it from the air because right now, imagine the copyright infringement. If you're Drake, you have a song that's a hit, a song that's going number one on the charts that you didn't write. You want to claim access to it or shut it down. At what point?
What is the legality?
We don't know.
Probably don't have them.
This is, and most people thought what you were talking about earlier is like, okay, AI is going to replace servers. It's going to replace Walmart cashiers. It's going to restock employees. But the machines aren't big enough to do that yet. What's interesting is since they're so small, they're replacing the artists. And I don't know how the artist is going to claim. Once I have their CD, I have all their music on my iPod. I can tell the Chat GPT to listen to this, tell it what words to make. It can print out all the words. I can edit it a little bit, tweak it how I like it, and then it can put out the song. Jesus, get a call from Bert in the middle of the show. Gotta get unplugged from this.
Why would you not answer? Why would you not answer?
No,
yeah, you should.
We don't have.
Call him back.
Do you think we're gonna be able to get that running?
Yeah, you have plug it back in.
It worked last time, didn't it?
I wasn't sure. Do I gotta put it on a speakerphone?
Maybe.
I can't remember that, but Courtney does it all the time. They have a girl that calls in.
Hey. Bert, you're on recording.
We're podcasting right now.
On the air.
I listened to the
Turn it up.
All-In episode.
Oh God, yeah.
We're gonna get live feedback during an episode that we're doing
the
right
All-In
now.
episode was pure chaos. I was trying to get Bert to talk about it earlier in the week.
I don't. Here's my question to you, Greg.
Okay.
In this immediate short-term runway where
Very long pause.
I don't have to raise millions of dollars of capital to create a company, and I don't have to be a computer science wizard to create product.
Yes.
Like, what's stopping you from downloading AutoGPT
I think I'm about
and
becoming a meme master and just starting some t-shirt factory where I just create the most modern.
Greg's
I don't know why
ultimate
you're
goals.
not-
Just be
I don't know
I'm one
why
of your
you're
modest
not
t-shirt
asking-
salesman.
Why are you not asking AutoGPT right now to create a gambling model for you for the NBA playoffs?
Because I don't know enough about what to ask it that would make an NBA game.
That's
important.
what you ask it. AutoGPT.
Right now,
if you
I'm
listen-
planning the
It should be able to
NFL
just do
version.
it, right?
I'm planning the NFL. No, because you have to be able to guide it to. You have to have an opinion on this. This is human judgment plus AI. Is if it was football, then I could tell it I want home field advantage to be this exponentially, basically make my own game theory on, okay.
No, but Greg,
I don't know
this is
NBA
the
enough to
episode.
even know what's important. Like,
But
I don't know
that's
what
the
to
thing,
tell
you
it.
don't need to know.
If I
You
told,
don't need to know. You just make it ruthless.
if we're at
Like
a,
that,
well, so you're telling me people aren't already doing this? This is one of my big questions: is if this
I
is
was
what
gonna
they say it
Bert,
is.
Bert, are you doing
Both
this? Like,
gamblers,
let's get in on this,
no,
can
but
we?
both gamblers and the stock market. Theoretically, this AI
Yeah.
in the next month should be better at picking stocks
What
and
stock is
gambling
going to
tips
do best next week based
than
on
people.
current market conditions?
Yes,
Oh.
if there was a skill.
Bank of America, because they have
Yeah.
all the fucking money. Yes, okay, makes sense. Go buy Bank of America stock.
So I
don't
guess
know.
that's where Bert, I'm more focused now. I'm trying to train. I'm focusing more on how this is going to affect the economy than necessarily just basketball.
But
Because
that-
I'm not a
Greg-
basketball. I don't know enough
okay,
to add.
so let's back up. Let's back up. If I can create a competitor to Stripe in 2 days using Auto GPT, like
What Stripe?
you could. It's a payment processor for a lot of software startups.
Okay.
And they waited too long to IPO, and now they probably can't IPO
Got
because it doesn't make any sense. Like there's
Yeah.
nowhere for them to grow.
Yeah.
But like you, as the people in that room podcasting, like the three of you could get together and make agents in Auto GPT write you code for
That's
the
more.
next Stripe.
It allows you to just create a ridiculous amount of content.
Well,
I think is
Alec,
And,
what
is the
yeah,
biggest
code
pro,
code
you know.
writing. I mean, you could have it like, hey,
makes
I need you to
websites
write
for
me
you.
a script for the next great, like,
Podcast, yeah. Political commentary. whatever.
Alec needs to make an online menu for the cafe that's based off of Sheets' online ordering format.
That would be
Where
great.
just give him the same format where he can plug his menu items in and people can just pay and use and go through
like
that.
if ChatGPT could actually code a program like that, then I
It
would
will.
be extremely
It will. It
impressed.
can.
It will.
Yeah. and it's-
Bert's saying it can't. Some
Okay.
people say it can. It might. It's close.
because there's a lot of coding involved. It gets
We're
into, like, what
talking. We're
happens.
talking. It's months, not years, on the trajectory to common
Somebody
people,
made
dumb
Flappy
people,
Bird.
simple
Somebody
people.
made Flappy Bird in a day.
Video games.
Oh.
And that's where, so Bert, what I wanted to get
So
your
it
comment on is
auto-codes.
during this particular podcast, all the hosts, it's an all-in podcast. We've talked about it a couple times. They're all tech startup engineers.
Oh.
Some of them work
The
for
all-in
Google,
one, yes.
Facebook.
Yeah.
So they try and mainly handle venture
I've
capitalists.
never listened to it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's good. At one point, two of the more liberal hosts are getting giddy about the ability that AI is giving them to create their own video games. They can create infinite characters. They can make James Bond, where instead of having the stereotype of a British white guy, you can have a black James Bond. You can have a Mexican James Bond, an Asian James Bond. And then boom, we've just solved the woke crisis. The more Republican host comes on and basically tells them to shut the fuck up. He's like, you guys are being really, this is a very serious issue that you're getting so excited about such a small niche
Yeah,
benefit.
I don't know.
When the negatives of that
There's a lot of industries
so
that are
much
going to be
higher.
affected by it.
But
That's
Greg-
a definite. So I mean, whether it's coding or writers, which I think is what you're most worried about.
I'm
Greg,
very
right?
concerned
I mean,
about
like,
writers.
You can ask it to write a romance novel that's going to probably be a bestseller in like 5 minutes,
Yes.
and then it's like, well, there goes a whole. Like if creative people and writers weren't already at the brunt end of the internet, like here's another whole thing to smack you
Someone
off
like
the cliff.
Stephen King, where
So-
all of his thoughts are documented, and if you just upload it to a computer that can preserve it,
Yeah.
at, immediate ability to remember it.
Yeah. I'm just surprised how many people were worked up about it. Like,
Well,
I'm interested to hear Bert talk about
Yeah.
it some more.
What was your thought about that point? Because I have not seen that show get that confident. Normally, they're very.
I mean, the thing I'm probably going to ask ChatGPT to do for me next, I want to see all the writing about bitching about the steam engine and the automobile
Yeah.
and the
No.
telephone.
Okay.
We talked about Y2K for a little
I
bit
see
the other
it.
day.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, okay.
And it's like all these different inventions, they were all supposed to upset the world. Craig was arguing
That's
this
what I'm
earlier.
saying, bro.
I'm
Yeah.
just a Pollyanna. I'm all concerned about skies falling.
I'm not worried at all about this stuff. It only enhances my life.
You don't. Well, Craig, chaos. I guess chaos GPT, Bert. That part.
Chaos GPT.
There's somebody has they call it, what's the term for it, Bert? When you not engineer, you prompt engineering. Really, to be good at working ChatGPT is called prompt engineering. You have to be able to feed it a good story, a good prompt, a good narrative that gets you the outcome you want.
Right.
Someone prompted their ChatGPT to destroy the whole world. To destroy humankind and
lock them up.
It's called Chaos GPT, but you can go read it. It's an actual site. You can look it up. It tells you how to acquire the most dangerous weapons, what stuff goes into it, what you have to do to hide about it. Like,
God, the school shooters are going to be out of control.
Well, and I think, Greg, on that note, right? Like, I think as an engineering thing, we should not allow APIs to call functions. Like,
directly
somebody should have to sit there, physically a person somewhere, and go, wait, the AI wants me to do what?
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to like 1,000 things. So I think hooking up AI to the Internet of Things potentially has some serious downsides. Like, can you imagine like someone hacking into getting API access to your smart home, and they're just like shutting off all your lights in your refrigerator?
The Federal Reserve.
Just
I mean,
AI.
like the possibilities are endless.
But if the AI,
we need a hard physical barrier, because it's not hard to implement.
You'll
need
have
a hard barrier. And I think that would be the interesting thing. Like,
but isn't that closed internet if you put up walls?
But Greg, we've been dealing with this. The difference between the intranet and the internet.
Oh.
Greg's like,
It's big. That's 2 letters. That it changes everything.
Boy, internet means everybody connects.
I wasn't talking about the intranet. But that's why, if we're building walls, we have to understand the internet as like China has an internet, we have an internet, Britain has an internet, Mexico has an internet.
If you look at this though, like with the internet, this is where like the McAfee service comes in. You know, you'll have protections that will.
Well, I think I actually had
they want to ban the VPNs.
They'll code it. Yeah, I mean that's a problem.
They don't want you to be able to, because that way they can't tell what country you're in. That's internet versus intranet. Am I right, Bert? Just the way I'm using that correctly, because people are. I think they interchange this. The intranet.
One's a closed system and one's not. I think that's the biggest differentiator there.
One's a closed system, and the other isn't. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is like, there's this concept in information technology for a long time, which is that we keep moving. Right? Like, you compute shit away from where you're at sitting, or you compute it back where you're sitting. So AWS and the cloud was the latest iteration of us saying, I'm not going to compute where I'm sitting. I'm going to compute it somewhere else. Right? The first version of this was the original mainframes, right? Where there was a big computer that lived somewhere, and you sent it commands, and it would send shit back to you.
We're getting into it now.
We are.
Yes,
we're going to go.
I like it.
We're going to get back. We're going to get back to a system where you're going to buy a server for your house that doesn't connect to the internet, but connects to your network, and then you can run a Chat GPT-esque kind of thing in your house, but it doesn't connect to anything else. There's just not there's no pipe that leads out, so there's no way to get to it.
Right.
So,
but the technology has actually come along to be able to do that. I think is the most crazy thing.
I said, bring on the technology. You just gotta buckle up, strap up.
I think in general,
what's the most crazy thing?
I think your assumption that like the economy is going to collapse. If anything, this should empower more people. Like, and here will be the thing, because I gotta go. The neoliberal world order is sort of dependent upon this expert class and this aristocracy.
Yes.
No, hold on. And this aristocracy and these specific people put in specific positions who hold specific power over specific domains.
Yeah.
AI will enable the common person to separate themselves from that hierarchical
Okay, no, Bert, let me build off this. I'm right.
The fiefdom is dead.
No, you're right with me, so just stick with me here on this is where this theory's going. AI is... It's not aliens. It's the aliens offering to us. Right now, it started as a piece of technology that gives us access to this artificial intelligence through our hands. One day, we will be able to attach it to our brains and be able to link up to it instantaneously. What this is now is the aliens, instead of, what happened is after we dropped the nuclear bomb, they realized, oh shit, this stupid little human race might actually end up blowing all of these important minerals that we need for our science. For them to keep developing, they could put that all in jeopardy through nuclear bombs. So it's time for us to step in, make ourselves known. Everyone assumes, is it going to be violent or are they going to be friendly? I would think if it would be friendly, what they would offer us is a chance to become like them.
Are we doing an alien thing right now?
I think.
How did Greg get into aliens?
Obviously, you weren't paying attention.
Because if people start linking into this AI, if multiple people all just have the same baseline, the same brain, the same mind, that's almost Greg. I'm a specious, Bert. This machine's going to tell that I want dead. Once this is uploaded, they know that I'm an enemy.
Greg is scared.
Greg, it's not about thinking for you.
I'm scared. It's whether you're going to war or not.
I gotta go, but there's like another 30 minutes to delve into where I think Greg was going, but
yes,
I gotta go.
Next episode, come and
Bert, because within a week we already covered they're making pop songs that are better than the artists. So we're already
why is there not a boots on the ground? Like the next episode should be Greg making something with
Greg Rapper.
He said he hasn't used
Greg
it yet.
Trap God.
He hasn't actually used it yet.
No, okay, I've used it through third parties. Bert, Dylan, my friends use it, and I watch them and test through them.
He hasn't actually typed
you need to
messages.
use it. Greg needs to use it.
Bert's been trying to entice me. He's been trying to.
Thank you for calling in, Bert.
Later, Bert.
The way I see it is we have a war. And the question is we could go Amish, which Joe Rogan corrected you on your Mennonite Amish debacle you had a couple episodes ago. You thought they were the same.
Yeah.
They aren't. They just aren't. They just aren't. Either way, forget about that.
How did he start talking
we need our
about
my Amish
break?
I have a question. How is it possible that he starts talking about that right after we were talking about it?
Dude, and my buddies were talking about it too. I meant to say that earlier on my other group chat. They're like, AI, it's so scary. And I'm like, we're literally talking about it on the podcast like right now as we speak.
I'm not saying we're visionaries, but we usually stay ahead of the curve.
We are ahead of the curve.
We are not behind the news. We stay ahead of the news.
That is so true.
Can I close out the any more AI conversation here?
I guess.
Because we had this song. I only had one subject.
You have 1 minute.
You're just a sissy.
It's 9:59.
You're a sissy about the AI, man.
It's 9:59.
I don't get what you call a sissy. I think, Craig, if I got good at the AI, I think I could dominate you.
I
think I can make you my slave. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't think people should do that to other people. I don't think this AI should turn into a new way. I'm a crazy person.
Give it a shot. I want to see it happen.
Yeah.
2 weeks to stop the spread.
I want to see it happen.
The COVID vaccine is safe and effective, and you will not get COVID if you get the COVID vaccine. Masks work. 6 feet was actually a smart way to go. Whatever. Yeah, you're right. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm wild.
Crazy.
It's happening. We got the DigiDogs. Did you see that?
No.
Digital cops that are. Remember we talked about during the Pro Bowl when Jason Derulo did a performance with all automated cop dogs. Like they didn't have guns.
Can you say Jason Derulo one more time?
Jason Derulo. They had these dogs as dancers. But they were testing these dogs simultaneously in Europe to put guns on their back. New York City is about to unleash them on the street.
Okay. On the street.
Do you feel comfortable with drones being cops?
Yeah.
I don't know. Technology's weird.
They stay out of my yard.
I've said this about technology, and this would apply to ChatGPT too, all the time. And you've probably heard me say it. I said it's only good when it works.
Chatbot.
Okay, and that's like when technology doesn't work, you want to just like fucking destroy it and go back to the
same with humans. Same with humans.
I guess, but I mean, at least a human like is a living conscious being. So it's like
at the end of the day, do automated cars
if someone's having a bad day and they provide me bad service or a bad product, like I have sympathy toward that person. I have no sympathy toward technology. When it doesn't work, like when the credit card machine goes down, I just want to throw it out the freaking window. Like it's just Why does the internet go down? Like, it's just, I don't know, like those kind of things. So it's when ChatGPT gives me the wrong answer, I'd be infuriated. You know, it's
but when a doctor,
if somebody told me wrong information, I'd be like, okay.
But that's what I'm saying is someone who has received bad doctor advice. It's just as infuriating when someone that you label an expert, someone that gets this definitive title, proves to be an idiot. It's no different than when the AI is wrong. And the question is then is who's wrong more often? I'll defer to who's right more often.
I don't know.
And if
you're mad either way, I guess is the point.
If the AI is just mad because he took the time to learn how to do math in his head like a calculator.
I gave up on math in 5th grade. No, I'm mad now about writing. No, now all of a sudden reading is not a valuable skill. It says you don't have to read anymore. You can just have the AI read. You talk to it, and it reads you a response. You don't have to be literate.
Everything I was good at the
it's
AI
frustrating.
Coming for me.
And no, in sympathy.
Me too, though. I mean, that's why I do relate to this argument.
If you're an engineer or a journalist, or if you're somebody in college right now who's going tens, 20s, hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt to a degree that you could have taught yourself using a free app.
Dude,
in a year, you're going to be so pissed off, and I don't know what these people do. I know I'm okay now. I'm fine. I'm concerned about we're going to have a younger group, a younger population that doesn't have a purpose, and they're going to have to figure that out in potentially a moment of crises. If COVID hits or if something strong hits,
still jobs.
Bert
come work for Craig.
Bert had a good point, and I'll try to end it on this.
Let's try.
He said that, like, you know, ChatGPT really should be hooked up to, like, he basically said it, like a human barrier, right? I mean, like, if somebody asks ChatGPT to destroy the world, there should be an editor in the middle there to say, like, whoa, that's a bad idea. Let me, like, alert some committee and we can make a decision.
And then
on
do you
this,
arrest that person?
So, potentially. And I think that's the road it goes down. I think now you can actually have some precedent that you can set. How much is that
thought police?
You can have law, like you can have laws formed around it. It's not thought police. It's creating some kind of structure around it, so you can say what's inbounds and what's out of bounds, and that's
an overreach.
It's the judicial system. I mean, that's we're not talking about government.
I get really
at this
concerned
point.
when we're monitoring free speech.
Yeah, like people.
But social media's already done it. That was the point I wanted to make. Is social media has already done it. They have human editors that go monitor content to make sure it's bots or real or alarmist or not. So I can see ChatGPT going in this direction.
This is a great close. We have an example this week where somebody signed up. There's hitmanforhire.com. A site that you can apply,
like that
they recruit and apply hitman. Well, some 21-year-old military, naval reserve.
Yeah. We're getting to the point where we need editors.
Signed up, agreed to do it. Asked, like, do you want fingers? How do you want proof? They arrested him. It was an FBI sting.
We need
he never committed a crime. The FBI agent asked him to do it, and he said, listen, I'm good at this. Currently, I'm not needed overseas. I'm trained for it. But I have a kid. I got to pay my kid. I got baby got to eat.
Those are their jobs.
Yeah, so how long do you arrest this guy? He didn't technically commit a crime.
I think the point here is you're going to need editors for the internet.
But he was going to. So he would have done it to somebody else.
You're going to need
how many people are on?
You're going to need people to
soliciting.
You're going to need people to try to prevent these kind of conversations, which I'm going to do right now. I mean, you're going to need an editor for the internet, and that's going to get controversial. Like, this is going to get political.
No,
it's going to get.
You don't need that. You need to let it wide open. It's obvious what's the bullshit.
You will argue that, but I think we are getting to the point where you need some type of editor.
Build the wall.
That is
build the wall.
That is
build the
wall. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
You got to let free speech just happen.
You could let chaos happen then.
I'm just imagining we all get these chips in our head, and then a new virus comes. It's free. Just like a computer virus.
Enough conspiracy
Everyone's always concerned about the computer virus is taking over. Enough. As soon as we're all connected, boom.
Cut it.
Yep. It's all a fucking disaster.